Good morning, dear respected Thai, dear brothers, dear sisters, and the noble community. This is a happy moment. This is indeed a legendary moment for me. I was born and raised here spiritually in Upper Hamlet, Plum Village. But this is actually the first time I'm giving a talk in Plum Village. So it is indeed a legendary moment for me. And this morning when I came to the meditation hall, I invited Thai to be here with us to talk for me this morning. Today is the 21st of March in the year 2023, and we are in the spring retreat. And we are currently in Upper Hamlet, Plum Village. This week, we are so happy to see so many young people. Young at age and young at heart. And for myself personally, every time I see young people, I feel very happy because you make me feel younger too. I'm currently residing in Thai Plum Village in Thailand, and the majority of our monastic siblings is under 30. So the energy is very youthful, playful, and young. That is why I'm currently residing there. Because sometimes I feel old and I need the young energy to make me feel younger. I'm so grateful for many young people who come to Plum Village, particularly this week. So many of you. I'm grateful for the fact that you encounter the practice as an early age. I encountered practice when I was at the age of 29. And I came to Plum Village when I was 30. And I ordained when I was at the age of 31. You probably figured out how old I am now. Some of us who are here at the Plum Village just for a recharge. Some of us here just to find a balance. Some of us is here just to find some inner peace. Some of us is here is just to find a way out of our difficulty and our suffering. And some of us try to find some joy and happiness. And today, we will talk about how to cultivate true joy and true happiness. So maybe part of my talk, my style is I like to engage with the audience. Seeing the young people who are here, you are my source of aspiration to give the talks today. So I will ask you a couple questions. So if you can work with me, work with me. So those who are here to find some joy, some inner peace, some happiness, can you share what it means to be happy to you? Maybe we can begin with the young people. Can you raise your hand? A microphone will be passed to you. This is a top audience, huh? Anyone? Okay. There was the gentleman in the back sitting on a chair raising his hand. Can you have a microphone passed to him, please?
No,
What does it mean to be truly happy to you?
Dear Sangha, dear Thai, I didn't really want to share, but as no one was raising his hand, I said, okay, let's try to be brave and break the ice and kick this off. So I'm also a bit nervous. I can feel the heart beating, so stick with me. But yeah, for me, being happy means really, I mean, it might sound a bit cliche, but like being in the present moment and realizing what you have. We already have everything we need to be happy, and so just realizing that, like makes me happy. And I think many times in life we don't realize the good things we have, and it's really sad if you have good things in life and you don't appreciate them. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Thank you. Can we give him some flowers? So basically, our friend says that in order to be happy, he learned how to dwell in the present moment. And when we are really present, then we can realize what is happening. And we can touch all of the conditions that are available to us that make us happy. Anyone else who has different? Yes? Okay. The machine is warming up. Okay.
Hello. Okay. I decided to follow in your footsteps, your brave footsteps, so thank you. While you were speaking, I guess what I thought of was that, when true joy is also when people around you are also experiencing that, I think, because you can really feel that and internalize that. So it depends on yourself, but also definitely to see that in others around you. And that's something that I've experienced here, so...
Thank you very much. As I shared earlier, that we are very grateful for you to come to Plum Village and encounter the practice at the early age. At the Plum Village, we try our best to share the practices, and thanks to our teacher who has developed the teaching so simple, so practical, so that anyone can learn and practice at any time and anywhere. And in the Plum Village community, what we do is we offer the platform. Everybody can come and practice. Here, we offer the basic practices, so everybody can apply, can use and practice. And best of all, we can benefit from the collective energy. The environment is so nature, and nature can bring us a lot of healing and nourishment. And so, but given that all the conditions available and offers to us, each one of us has to practice for ourselves, for our transformation, for our joys and our happiness. And today, the talk that I would like to share with you is how to cultivate true happiness within ourselves. Recently, I has some Buddhist work in Asia, particularly in Vietnam. And I had quite a number of encounters with businessmen and businesswomen in Vietnam. Particularly, there was one businesswoman who has a consultation, and she asked a question. She says, "Dear Thai, I have been working in the business field for almost 30 years. And I'm currently working for a multi-corporation, one of the huge companies in Vietnam. And I'm one of the top management level. Sometimes I feel complete. Sometimes I feel very empty inside. Despite the fact of where I am at this moment, my title, how much I make, but I don't feel happy at all compared to my friends. I don't feel successful enough. And the reason for that, despite all the difficulty, challenges that I have gone to get to where I am at this point in life, I have to sacrifice so much. Currently, I'm in a divorce process, divorcing my husband. And I have one daughter who is 16 years old. And I'm having extremely difficult time with her. We don't communicate well. We fight all the time. So sometimes I ponder, what is the meaning of life? Despite all of the fact that I challenges, difficulty, that I striving to get where I am at this moment. Considering materials in life, I pretty much have everything I need, more than what I need. But what is the point when I cannot keep my family? My husband and I are about to divorce. And my relationship with my daughter, I don't know how far it will go and where we will end up. So that was a very big question. Some of us strive so hard to work of our life to get where we want it to be. And when we get to the point where we want to be, then we look back. Is it worth to sacrifice all that? And then at this moment, are we happy enough? So the question I was pondering, or she was pondering, what is success? And most of us, we know success is achieving what we want. In another word, success is to be able to fulfill our goal in life. For me, as a monk, I'm very practical. Everything in life, we need to have goal. Even monastics, as a young age, on the monastic path, we need to have goal. For example, when we first ordained as a novice, the first year, what would we like to learn? What we would like to invest our time in? Second year and third year. How do we see ourselves in a year from now in terms of spiritual growth? After 3 years, when we receive great precepts as bhikshuni, as bhikshu, how we would like to serve? What basic practices that I would like to invest in at this moment? So once we have a clear goals in mind, and then we slowly work for it. At the moment, there are so many young people out there who don't have any goal at all whatsoever in life. Despite all of the material conditions that they have, the more they study, the more they tend to lose directions in life. So having a good sense of goal or good sense of direction in life is very important. And come to the Plum Village into an environment like this, where we get supported for the community. We get supported by nature. It gives us an opportunity to come back to ourselves, to the islands within ourselves. It was only when in a peaceful environment, calm environment enough, it gives us an opportunity to reflect. What do I really want in my life? Do I have goal? As for me, to have a clear goal is very important. To have a clear goal is required that you need to understand what is my goal. Whatever I do, I need to understand the benefit behind my work. With the benefit behind my work, it nourishes me. I serve, I do this. The outcome of this work, what benefits can it bring? I do that not because I have that goal, is to not to nourish my ego, my pride, but I use this, I take it as a nourishment to nourish my bodhicitta. The hard work that I put in can bring so much joy to the other, can bring so much healing and transformations to the other. So that is the fruit of service. And having a clear goal is also help me to balance my life. When I go through suffering, I go to challenges, that is the sense of direction. I say, oh, I am determined, I'm committed with that goal. Then it keeps me balanced. But then having a clear goal itself is not enough. We need to learn how to implement it. We cannot just sit there and having a vision, go and do nothing. We have to be practical. As for me, that I see that when we set goals for our life, whatever we do in life, it gives us a sense of direction where we're heading. And it serves as a foundation. But if we don't do anything, no goals at all, we won't be able to achieve anything. So as I see, goals, purpose in life, they serve as bricks of wall. Bricks to build wall of success. And having goal, it helps me motivated to live. I have a reason to live up to as a monk every day. You know why? That we shave our head as monks and nuns? Not because that we deceive our look, our appearance. It's so wonderful that our parents, our ancestors, they give us this body, something that we can cherish and we appreciate. But as a monks and nuns, we try to cultivate the beauty coming from within, not from the outside. But having shaven the head, every time we touch the head, it reminded us, I'm a monk. I cannot do like that. I cannot say something like that. So it helped me, or it helps us to act, to behave appropriately. It's such a great reminder. So having goal is a motivation to live, to practice. And my goal is try to be as a monk throughout my life. Every day we do touching the earth. After the sitting or chanting, I do only 3 touchings of the earth. And the last one, my aspiration is, may I complete my monastic path this life. And may I continue to come back life after life to continue to be monastics. Because how much I cherish, how much I appreciate, and how much I see the meaning of this path. So therefore, I aspire to come back and come back. So that's give me the motivation. Last but not least, with the motivation in mind, it gives me that strategy to practice, to work, and to serve. When we have a clear goal in mind, then we have, when you have the passion, then we can develop a strategy. What kind of strategy? That how we can serve effectively. So what I'm sharing with you at this moment, having goal is important, but that is just on the surface level of the practice. At some points in life, when we different practice enough, then we can also learn how to let go. So we get into that in the moment. Everything in life has its own purpose. As for me, at this moment in life, success is simply defined, is to live simply living today with more openness, more receptiveness, more understanding, more accepting, more loving, and more happiness than yesterday. That is enough for me. Our teacher has once says, each one of us has to ask ourselves, what have I done to my life? What do I really want? Do I really want to be number one? Or do I want to be happy? If you want success, you may sacrifice your happiness for it. You can become a victim of happiness. You can become a victim of success, but you can never become a victim of happiness. And this particular saying struck me. First time I came to Plum Village in 2006. I graduated when I was in almost 21 years old. And I worked in the workforce for quite a number of years. And when I turned 29, I got what I wanted, what I needed as a young man. But I felt very empty inside. I felt empty. I did not see the meaning of life. I often ask myself the question, is there a way to go through life, to be happy, in order not to go to the path of materials? That was a big question for me. I did not get the answer until I encountered Plum Village and touched the basic practices in the year 2005. First, I came into the Plum Village in 2006. I touched my inner peace. After 3 days, and at the moment I found, this is it. This is the kind of life that I want to live. This is the kind of life that I would like to serve. And at that week, I started to realize all of these years I've been pondering about the question, feel missing, feel empty inside, feel incomplete. I was lacking a spiritual dimension. Let us listen to one sounds the bell. 2 days ago in Upper Hamlet, we actually recited the 5 mindfulness trainings. And today I would like to reference the second mindfulness training to talk about how to cultivate true happiness. As for us monastics in the Plum Village tradition, or any kind of Buddhist tradition, observing 5 mindfulness training is very crucial for us. The 5 mindfulness training serve as guideline, ethical guideline, where the community observe and follow. And nothing can be more concrete and practical than observing the 5 mindfulness trainings. Can I ask a question? Can you please raise your hand? Anyone in the audience, if you have not received the 5 mindfulness trainings? Just a handful, about 10 of us. 7, 10 of us. Wonderful. Okay. So today, for those who have not received the 5 mindfulness trainings, so we'll go into it. For those who have received and have practiced the 5 mindfulness trainings, we can review more in depth about this training. The second mindfulness training, true happiness, aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression. I'm committed to practice generosity in my thinking, speaking, and acting. I'm determined not to steal and not to possess anything that should belong to others. And I will share my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in need. I will practice looking deeply to see that the happiness and suffering of others are not separate from my own happiness and suffering. That true happiness is not possible without understanding and compassion. And that running after wealth, fame, power, and sensual pleasures can bring much suffering and despair. I'm aware that happiness depends on my mental attitude and not on external conditions, and that I can live happily in the present moment simply by remembering that I already have more than enough conditions to be happy. I am committed to practicing right livelihood so that I can help reduce the suffering of living beings on earth and stop contributing to climate change. This is a very deep training, and it serves as a guideline how we can practice to cultivate true happiness. As for me, for the past 16 years practicing, observing this 5 mindfulness training, particularly this second mindfulness training, I see that the second mindfulness training serves as an antidote to our greed, to our craving. As we know, in each one of us, that contains 3 poisons within. First poison is the ignorant. Second poison is the anger. Third poison is craving, greed. And they actually inter-are. And the 5 mindfulness training is actually a way for us to cultivate, to practice as an antidote to those 3 poisons. And we can go into that in just a moment. Now we're talking about true happiness. Some of us might have an idea, a notion of what happiness is. If I do this, I have goals, I follow, I do like this, maybe in 10 years, I achieve it, then I will be happy. Or maybe in 5 years. I recently met a young gentleman who came to our Plum Village practice centers. And he aspired, after practicing with us for a few days, he spent a week with us, he aspired to become monastic. However, he says, Thai, I see it's so beautiful to live a life like this. However, I wish that I could join the community to live in such a life. However, I feel I'm not ready yet. Please give me another 5 years, and I will be back. Please wait for me. I will join the community. Just give me another 5 years. I'm saying, okay. Between now and then 5 years, there's a lot of things will happen. Huh? Keep the bodhicitta. Keep that mind of love. Everything needs food to survive. If no food, then nothing can survive. That's including your love, your bodhicitta, your aspiration. So keep it alive. As long as one time in life, if we can give rise to a wholesome thought, that wholesome thought would be, maybe I like to do something beautiful for others. Maybe I would like to do something that more benefits for others. Maybe someday I can see myself as a monastic. Each one of us can have a wish. Wish doesn't cost anything. You can have a wish. But as long as you have that wish that has the aspiration, that we have to continue to feed it, to continue to nourish ourselves. Choose the right environment, the nourishment to feed ourselves. I says, continue to keep your bodhicitta alive. Commit in an activity that nourishes yourself. Coming back to the Sangha, practicing from times to times. But then I turn around and ask, why 5 years? He says, well, I hold my own period. I need 5 years to go to my difficulty and challenges. And this time in life, I need 5 years to go through that. So I says, okay. But keep in mind, sometimes 5 years come first, or next life come first. Coming back, we might have a notion of happiness. We're striving. If I try to do this, to do that, then I will be happy. Just a notion. We might have to sacrifice so much, sacrifice ourselves, sacrifice our time, sacrifice our loved ones in order to chase for what we want, that we believe to bring happiness to us in the future. And a lot of us experience that. I myself did that. That's how I ended up after the 29 years living out there. Then I realized it was just an illusion for me. Wonderful to have goal. But we need to understand what our goal is. What's the purpose of it? A notion needs to be grounded, needs to be practical. When I set a goal for myself, I will make sure that goal is practical. it can be carried out. And if the goal is too big, then what I do is I make the goal smaller. For example, if you want to save €1,000 a month, might be a lot a month, then you can do, maybe I can save 33 euros a day. So you make the goal smaller. It's easier to achieve. A notion of happiness sometimes can be very costly. So we have to be serious. We have to be practical to ourselves. There's always a catch. Life is two-sided. Our teacher often share left and right. Left cannot exist without the right, or vice versa. We might have a notion of happiness, and we work so hard to chase after that notion in order for us to be happy. We might work so hard, like a Mayfly. You know the Mayfly? Mayfly always chase after the light. When they see light, it's an insect. It just jump into the light, and it got killed. When they see the fire, all it knows is just light, and it's attracted by light. So it just fly in, and it got killed. When you're driving on the road, you turn on the headlight, especially your high beam headlight, Mayfly will fly in, and it got killed. And that's the same way for us. Same way for us. One thing that I aspired and I learned a lot, there was a story that I still remember until now. And I appreciate a lot. That's a teacher came to a class. He brought with him a vase flowers, a clear crystal vase flowers, some pebbles, some sands. And he came into the class. He showed it to his students. Dear students, today I have a demonstration to share with you. Here is the crystal vase flowers. These vase flowers represent your life. This golf ball, these golf balls represent what are the most important things in your life. For example, these golf balls can represent your health, your loved one, your parents, your children, your friends. If you don't have anything else, but you only have these, then your life is still feel content and fulfilled and happy, despite of not having anything else. And the pebbles represent your house, your career, your car. And the sand represent electronic gadgets, clothing, interior decoration, and so on. So if you fill up the vase flower with the sand and the pebble first, then you have no space at all whatsoever for what most important to you. So at this moment in life, you're still young. Consider what is more important to you. Fill up that one first before it's too late. So the notion of happiness give us a reflect. It's a practice. I have that notion of happiness, to do that to make me happy? Is it really, truly make me happy? Is it worth it for me to sacrifice of what I have at this moment? We often reminded by our teacher in this practice that happiness can only available in this very present moment. If you can touch it, you can touch it. If you don't, then you don't. To be able to touch and to feel, it takes a lot of mindfulness and concentration. Like our young friend shared earlier. To be happy is to be fully present, to be able to recognize what are the conditions available to us at this very moment. If we're mindful enough with our breath, every breath that we take, how wonderful it is to be alive. How wonderful it is to be breathed so freely. I had a lung infection 10 years ago. And I contrast almost 4 liters of waters in my lung. And it was so extremely difficult for me to breathe. I mean, I learned all of these breathing sutra for all of these years. But I never realized how short, how shallow our breath can be. Until that moment, the water was fully in my lung. Took it in the breath. Just like that, I had to breathe out right away. Because there was no space for me to hold it. For too long, I had to breathe out right away. It was that short. Now sitting here, standing here in front of you, breathing freely, with a healthy lung, what a fortune. What a gift. And this, we are so gifted with this kind of weather. The nature is so beautiful. You walk outside, you see dandelions, daisy, all different kind of flowers out there. Are we really there to get in touch, to feel happy? On the lazy day, the brother came out. I don't know what the sister probably did the same. We came out, we were so happy, enjoy playing with the weather, with the flowers. We actually sat on the meadow and just had tea for hours, just to enjoy tea and just to be and just to appreciate the flowers. A few days ago, I had a walk with some of my brothers, and I share, if we are really mindful, we're really there, you can feel the vibration of the flowers. The flowers actually can talk to us. If you're tentative enough, then you'll be able to listen to it. So when we are so mindful and concentrated enough, you can touch happiness right at that moment. All the conditions are available to me at this moment for me to be happy, to be in joy, and to appreciate. What am I waiting for? Secondly, in order to be truly happy, we have to learn how to stop. Stopping is a fundamental practice of meditation. We cannot fully enjoy the practice, or we cannot fully ground it in the present moment when we don't know how to stop. So the practice of stopping is very crucial. First of all, we ask ourselves, stopping what? Stopping the thinking. The mind has that tendency to run, to think. We might be sitting here, we might be thinking about what is happening at home, what happened in Italy, in Paris. So, bring the mind back and back to this very moment. Stopping can be very healing. How do we learn how to stop? You have come to Plum Village. Some of us been here quite a long time. Come back from time to time, despite those who just arrived from this week. One of the basic practices that I enjoy a lot and I appreciate a lot is the practice of listening to the bell. Listening to the bell is a wonderful way to help us to stop. We have to gather. Listen to this wonderful sound of the bell. Brings me back to my true home. And as long as we hear the sound, whether it's a meditation hall bell, activity bell, or the great big temple bell, is an opportunity for us to practice stopping. Even the clock chimes. Whatever we do, whatever we think, we drop at that moment. We put down, we come back to the moment to enjoy, listen to the bell. It's a very, very deep practice. Simple, but very profound. Most often, we listen to the bell. We get chased by the sounds of the bell itself. First of all, before I go into that, when we listen to the sounds of the bell, it's an opportunity for us to let go, to stop whatever we think we do, just come back to the present moment, to be able to fully enjoy the sounds of the bell. That's the first practice. It helps us to draw in the moment, to drop everything that we do, we think at that moment. But however, as a human, we have a tendency that we react to the sound. How come this sound is so harsh? This sound is so coarse. This sound is so peaceful. You react to that sound. And this is true, it's the same way when you talk with someone, especially someone who are not good at giving love and speech when they share with you, then we tend to react. Why do we react? Because we chase after the sound, the tones, the meaning of the language, of the context of that person saying. So therefore we get lost in that listening. But listen is just to listen. We have a test, okay? Let us practice. Okay. You are invited to close your eyes. Relax yourself as we listen to one sound of the bell. Okay, now you can open your eyes. Anyone who fully attentive to your breath during listening to the sound of the bell, fully present. Anybody? Yeah, it's okay. Be courageous. If you don't, it's still okay. But if you did, fully attentive to your breath, I congratulate you. Wonderful. And continue to do that. That's our practice. Just to be able to follow and be with the sounds of the bell. To breathe is just to breathe. Now we try another one, okay? Don't try so hard. Huh? Don't try so hard. Okay, now I ask you to close your eyes. Close your eyes. Okay, now you can open your eyes without despite the tap of the sounds of the bell. Did you hear anything? Yeah? Anybody? Can you hear anything? You hear the sounds from outside? Okay. The translation? The motor. Okay. The first sounds the bell, I asked you if what the use. Did you hear anything? You probably might have said, yes, I heard the sounds the bell, right? The second, I asked you if you heard anything. Some of you may say, no, I heard nothing. Or you might have said that I heard the birds singing. I heard my heart is beating, so on and so on. But majority of us might have said, I heard nothing. Because we are expecting, you're anticipating there's a sound is coming. So therefore, you are waiting for that sound. This is exactly the same way when you have a conversation with someone. You're expecting what you want to hear, what you would like to hear. And if something else is different, the voice, the tones, the contents, the context is different than what you expected or what you have in mind, or goes against your values, therefore you react. The same way. Listen is to listen. If we say that we don't hear anything, that means, are we deaf? No, we're not deaf. The hearing is always there. So this is depending on how deep your practice, deep listening is. And you can explore so much through the practice of listening to the bell. First of all, listen to the bell is to be fully present. Listen to the bell help us to dwell. Listen to the bell help us to listen to ourselves. All of the reaction, whatever is going on in our mind. Are we able to stop, to turn up the radio thinking? Best of all, listening is to listen to the sounds of wonder. And that's what we call true sound. It's a very deep practice. It seems very simple, but it can be very profound. So I found, as for me, observing the practice of listening is still about simple enough, but it's very deep. And if you hear for 1 week, 2 weeks, you can, so many practices that we offer here. If you can just take one home, in this case, listen to the bell, listen to the telephone ring. I don't know what this is happening to you or not, but I remember when I was a lay, every time I listened to a telephone, when a telephone ring, my heart was beating. Especially Friday night waiting for a phone call to be invited to go out. Or when I'm at work and anticipating there might be a problem, my boss will be calling me, then the phone ring, my heart is beating. It's beating. So listening to telephone ring, sounds the bell, is an opportunity to practice, to come back and to stop. Stop the worry, stop the fear, stop the anxiety, stop the stress, and so on. Secondly, the practice of stopping. Not only stop the thinking, but it helps us to be aware of our greed. Greed of what? First of all, greed of material possession. And as for me, then, for us, for those of us who come to Plum Village, letting go, practicing of material possession is not so hard. What is more harder is that stopping to be able to recognize the difference between what we need and what we want. There has to be the difference between needs and want. Isn't it correct? How many people here have more than 5 pairs of shoes? Okay, you'll be courageous. Oh, well, very good. Thank you. I appreciate for your honesty. Yes. How many pair of shoes do you think we need? Hey. Okay, that's an answer. Just a laugh. A few years ago, I came back to the U.S. to visit my hometown, and I had a chance to visit one of my old friends from college. And I came to her house with her whole family, her husband, and so on. Now she is one of the Sangha members, practicing in our tradition locally where she lives. And her husband shared with me, my wife has more than 50 pairs of shoes. And he said, look at her closet, it's full of shoes. Do we really need that much shoe? See? So we have to be aware of what we need and what we want. If sometimes we go out there, we go shopping or we wander on the street, we look at something, it can be very attractive. You ask yourself, do I really need this? Or I just want it? As long as you can recognize the question, that's the first success. And as soon as you can recognize, I just want it, the answer might follow. After that, you know what to do or what not. So ask yourself, every time you go out shopping, then you can ask the question. I remember there was one time when we were on a teaching tour, somehow there was one day, beautiful day, free day, that we were taken into a shopping mall. Thầy was there with us. And Thầy just follow along because he was taken by his children, the organizing team. They go inside the mall, and then we walk around. Within 5 minutes, he turned around. He says, my child, we don't belong here. Let's go home. And when we get out the mall, he says, we succeeded. That we did not get fooled by craving of buying, shopping, say anything. And so we learned that every time that we consume, we buy something, it requires a lot of mindful shopping, mindfulness. Any kind of consumption can manipulate to an act of hurting and killing. And this is something for you to reflect. When you have a Dharma sharing this afternoon, you can talk more about it. Any kind. That is why when we consume, it takes a lot of mindfulness and concentration. And the question of whether I need this or I want this is very practical. In our tradition, the practice is stopping, also smiling. You come to Plum Village, you probably see monks and nuns, and the lay friends smile a lot. Yes, we smile a lot. Most of the time we are happy. That's why we smile. But that doesn't mean that we're always happy. Sometimes we are not happy, but we're still smiling. One of my friends had asked, so when you're not happy and you're still smiling, isn't it that is a fake smile that you put on your face? The answer is no. It's a practice. Smiling is a recognition of your emotion, of what is going on within your body and your mind. I'm feeling stressed. I'm feeling tension in my body. And I recognize that. And I smile with that. First of all, when we have tension, when we're angry, do we look beautiful? No. When we're angry, our face has a lot of tension. So when we smile, first of all, release all the tensions, the muscle on our face. So smiling is a way to recognize, there's something going on in my body. There's something going on in my mind. Not long ago in Thai Plum Village, I encountered a young novice who was walking. And then I walk in the opposite direction, and then he could detect that I'm coming, and he looked at me. He's smiling. And I asked, what is the joy today? He says, my dear brother, I'm smiling not because I'm happy. I just have too many things in my head at this moment, and I don't know what to do first. I said, okay, that's very good. At least that you recognize that you are overwhelmed by work. And you recognize that. And after that encounter, then he started to enjoy his walk. He walked more slower after that. So smiling is a wonderful way to practice, to recognize, to be aware of your emotion in your body and in your mind. And that is how we practice stopping. Our teacher has once said, and it was really struck me, that sometimes joy can bring smile. But sometimes it is the smile that can bring joy. And this is true. When you smile can be very contagious. Isn't it correct? When you see someone smiling, you feel fresh. You feel nourished. If you see someone out from far away that are getting mad or getting very angry, you turn the other way around. Yeah. But you see someone fresh, smiling, you want to be closer. The next practice is that practice of letting go. And this is in line with what I shared earlier. Letting go is a practice. Now, you ask yourself, I shared earlier about needs and want. Shoes, that's just an example. You make a list. How many things that I have? This is on the list of wants. How many things that I have is actually on the list of need. Do I have the capacity to let go of what I don't need? And you will see. Sometimes we have a notion of practicing of letting go. But when it comes to letting go, it's very difficult. But when you have the capacity to let go, you will see your heart, your mind has tremendous space. And the practice of letting go is the practice of sharing love. Sharing is caring. So now we just talk about letting go of materials. What is more difficult to practice is of letting go of our own notion. We might come to the community. We might come to the meeting. We might come to a workplace. We have a notion. This is a wonderful idea to do this. Therefore, I have that experience. I have done this before. And I know this is a very wonderful idea to do this, to implement this. I have this knowledge. I have this experience. And therefore, we live up with that notion. And we expect it to be like that. And if it's not like that, then we suffer. Remember, right and wrong is just a matter of relative. What is correct, what is right today, doesn't mean it will be right tomorrow. What is working today, it may not be working tomorrow. Things are impermanent, as we have learned. What is right to me today, it may not be right to me tomorrow. And what is right to me at this moment, it may be just to me, but not with others. In the community, we learn how to take refuge. The practice of observing the precepts is that it's not about what is right and what is wrong. But it's more important is the harmony. Maybe the community, the corporation, the family, they have a different views. Not in accordance to our views. Our teacher often encourages us, share your views and learn how to drop your views. You share your best and you feel the energy. Sometimes your practice of letting go will inspire to give the others the opportunity to reflect. And if the community, if the family, the Sangha are going into that direction, it's an opportunity for all of us to learn together. And in our tradition, our teacher has practiced letting go of his own idea from time to time. Sometimes the Sangha decided this is what's best for the Sangha. They says, no. Reflect on this. There might be a better solution. That we took back and we had another meeting and we come out, okay, this is what the Sangha wanted. They learn to let go. To let go. Let the Sangha learn from their own decision of making. Thầy done his best to contribute his insight and his experience. So the practice of letting go can bring a lot of happiness. Remember, true happiness can only possible when we know how to stop, when we look back inward and to be able to let go. When we have space in ourselves, space in our heart, space in our mind, then we'll be able to embrace easily and naturally. The moment between one thought and another thought. You're taking in one thought, there's another thought is arising. Thoughts go up and down. One thought after another thought. And between those two thoughts, what is it? If we are mindful enough, you will see. Between those two thoughts, one thought is arising, or one thought is going down, that our other thought is going up. Between those two thoughts is the empty space in between. That's the moment, that's the point of what we call thoughtlessness, aimlessness. And that is the moment of true happiness. And our practice is how we can elaborate, we can actually stretching the moment to be longer. So the practice of letting go is very, very deep. As for us, you've been here, you see that how the community living very simply. Monks and nuns, we receive just a very moderate, what we call happiness pocket money. 10 years ago, before I left Upper Hamlet, it was only 40 euros a month. That is our happiness money. To use to buy some cookies, some yogurt. My time, 10 years ago, I used it to buy a phone card to call my family from time to time. Now, after 10 years, come back later, now it's become what, 80 euros? It took 10 years to have 100% increase in income from 40 to 80. That's a loss to us. And it makes us very happy, even though nothing compared for our lay friends outside. But the 80 euros, we use it to buy cookie, to buy drink, so that we can get together, to eat together, to be together, to nourish each other. Living simply, knowing that we have enough, it brings us a lot of happiness. Yesterday, I walked down to Happy Farm during my walk to enjoy wandering in the wild. And then I ended up in Happy Farm. And I saw my lay brothers who were joyfully, happily working. Some of them was digging. Some of them was harvesting. Some of them was plowing the soil. And guess what? They were singing while they digging and harvesting. And I was like, wow, what a life. You see, you don't need to have so much in order to be happy. So these brothers have the capacity to dwell in the moment and see the meaning of their work and their contribution. And they just enjoy life. I walked out, my heart was filled with gratitude as well as happiness, seeing that the community is heading in a good direction. Last but not least, that I would like to share with you is the practice of cultivating generosity. As I shared earlier, that the second mindfulness training, True Love, is a practice as an antidote to our greed and craving. We want something. We have desires to have something. Therefore, we would like to possess. That is greed. That is craving. How do we practice to be able to minimize the craving, the greed? We got to the practice of stopping, recognizing, letting go. Now the practice is how we can do the opposite as an antidote. In order to take, now we learn how to give. How to give. That is called the practice of dana paramita. Paramita. And because time is very limited today, I only share with you 3 things about the dana paramita. First is about dana, offering, donation. First, offering materials. When we lead 5 mindfulness trainings, Dharma sharings, our young friends often share, we are young, we're in college, we don't have money. How can we give? Giving to us may be only possible for the rich people. For people like ourselves, it's difficult to practice. Do you think that is true? I see some people just nodding their head. To a certain extent, yes, I agree with you. Giving doesn't require that you have a lot of money. Believe it or not, when you become rich, it might be difficult for you to give. And this is true. You can reflect, you can talk, share more about this later on. Rich people doesn't mean that they are happy. Happiness is only possible based on the foundation of peace. If your happiness is based on the foundation of peace, then it may not be true happiness. When the mind is at peace, at ease, then you can recognize a lot of happiness conditions. So now peace is serving as a foundation for happiness. What is serving as a foundation for peace? And this is all that the Buddhist teaching comes down to the end. That's love and understanding. Peace without a deep understanding and love, then it may not be truly. So coming back to Dana Paramita, offering resources. You offer what you have based on your heart, your love. I remember there was one time that I flew back to the U.S. to Magnolia Grove Monastery in Mississippi. I had a layover in Los Angeles International Airport. And it was early in the morning, and I get off the airplane. After I got out the custom, I was very, very hungry because we took a red-eye flight. So I went to a sandwich shop, line up, and wanted to buy a piece of a bread. And when I got to my turn, I pointed to the bread that I wanted to buy, and then I offered to pay. And then she says, no, we don't accept cash. We only accept credit card. Ooh, I stuck. Monastics, we have no credit card. We have no bank accounts. We have 3 pairs of robes. Now you ask me to pay by credit card. I have no credit card. You know what? There was a gentleman standing behind the queue. He walked over. He says, I will pay for him. And I look at him. I said, wow. And he paid. And then I turned around. I reimbursed it to him. I said, here's cash. He said, no. It's on me today. First time I look at his eyes, remember his face. And that day, that morning, I had the bread. Forever, I remember that face. And I ate a piece of bread with gratitude. And I give rise to the marriage to him and his family. Now, every time I eat bread, now coming with 2 friends, if you don't eat baguette, then it's a loss. Coming to friends, you have to eat baguette. So now often I eat, every morning I eat the bread. That face coming back. You see, sometimes a kind action can leave a very long lasting in someone's heart. So little things that you do or we do doesn't require a lot of money. If we don't have money, we can offer our time. We can offer our smile. A dark day, a bad day, with a smile can make a day seem brighter. And as friends, they need that. When you come to friends, that's what friends are for. You don't have to talk, you don't have to share so much. You just need to be given the shoulder for that person to lean on when they need to. Give them a smile when they need. That's all it takes. Secondly, the offering of the Dharma, the teaching. In the West, we have learned, get and give them the fish, teach them how to fish. teach them how to fish. If you give them a fish, in this case, if you give them a piece of bread, it'll only last them. But if you teach them how to make bread, they can feed their whole life. Giving a Dharma, offering the Dharma. Dharma is the teaching. When someone feels down, feels sad, they need some confinement. They need some wisdom. They need some guidance, some teaching. And the Dharma here, the teaching here can be many forms. If you later on, if you practice deep enough, well enough, you're ready to share, then wonderful. But at the moment, you can share whatever you have. To be able to bring your family here to practice, that's also sharing the teaching, the Dharma. Let the community do that work for you. Or you share the link of the Dharma talk. There's a link of some wholesome teaching. One of my brothers, elder brothers here, who have been doing a wonderful preaching to what I call is the modern preaching technique. He's doing broadcasts. And he's reaching so many million of people. That's one way of offering dana, teaching. Share links, share good news, share teaching to others who you think that's actually needed. Last but not least is the offering of non-fear. Non-fear means peace. Of course, we can only offer something if we have. You cannot offer something that you don't have. A few days ago, not only a few days ago, but occasionally, I work with my aspirants in Thailand, as well as my younger brothers and sisters, who often concerns about their parents. Come into a monastery to practice. I enjoy, I appreciate a lot. But I worried about my parents, my grandparents, elders, their health, their financial condition. That's their concern. Therefore, because of that concern, therefore, they're not able to dwell in the moment. Often get carried away by that thought of that concern. I'm doing here, I'm practicing here. What happened to my parents at home? Who's taking care of them? That struck them. When I was a novice, Thai taught me, as long as you sit still, you practice well, you dwell in the moment, and that energy will somehow will affect your family members. If you sit still, then your family at home will be still. But if you're agitated here, that will arouse them at home. There is a link between us and them. But what I share more with them is that as young people, it's so wonderful that we have that love, that caring, to take care of our parents, our grandparents. And as parents, grandparents, the most that we can do for them is provide them financial comfort. Put them, buy them a new house, nice car, and so on. Or if later on you don't have time, you put them in a very nice retirement home. And more than that, if you have time, then you can be with them. You come and visit them time to time. And that's the best you can do to offer them financial need, comforts. But that is not all they need. What they need is our presence, our love, and that direction, how to help them to live in peace and how to pass away in peace. And that's what we call the practice of non-fear. So the practice begins with us. If we practice bit by bit, day by day, peace will slowly be inhabited, will be built up. 15 years ago, when I was a novice, my mom was diagnosed as she has a pancreatic cancer. And the doctor says she has only 3 months to live, final stage. With the permission of the Sangha, I came back to be with her, to take care of her. The first thing I came back with the instruction from our teacher, I share with my mom. It's the matter of not how long you live, Mom. It's the matter of how well you live. If we can live well for another 3 months, it's more than worth it than living another 3 years or 30 years. If you live another 3 years or 30 years, you live in pain, you live in suffering, then it's not worth it. But at the moment you accept the condition, accept the truth, let's live life to the fullest, then we increase the value, the quality of life. And she accepted. Through her acceptance, she lived for another 8 months. And the last day of her life, I was sitting next to her bed, holding her hand and coaching her. To her last breath, I says, Mama, this might be your last breath. If you still can hear me, open your eyes and invoke the name of the Buddha with me. And as soon as I finished it, she opened up her eyes. She looked at me. She gave me a gentle smile. And she invoked the name of the Buddha. And she was gone. Just like that. Her pass away, her death, gave me a confirmation how important it is for me to stay on this path. How beneficial it is for this practice to help me and to help my families. When we have peace, you come to someone near death, they could feel it. When you have peace, someone in agitation, in fearful, they feel it. And that is what they need. And that is the best gift that you can offer to oneself. That is the practice of non-fear, practice of peace, offering peace, to the practice of dana paramita. So dear friends, let us listen to oneself, the bell. So dear Noble community, thank you so much for your deep listening for the last an hour and a half, approximately. And to recap of what I have shared so far today. We practice is in order to be ultimately is to be happy. Correct? Peace, joy will lead to happiness. But our happiness is not in the direction of sensual pleasure, fame, sex, powers, and so on. But our happiness is in the direction of true happiness. And to cultivate the practice of true happiness, there is nothing more concrete and practical than observing the 5 mindfulness training. And that's the ethical guidelines for us to observe, for us to cultivate true love, true happiness, reverence for life, deep listening, love and speech and deep listening, as well as healing. And five more trainings are the foundation of cultivating understanding and love. Our teacher has once shared, every one of us has the capacity to live in happiness. And living in happiness is a virtue. There is no talent, no skill, no virtues that can be above than the virtues or the talents of living happily in the present moment. And when we have the capacity to live in happiness, you will see, or we will see, our life has more quality, more values. And that is the legacy. That's something that we can leave behind for our children and for many generations to come. And our life, as our teacher has shared, is our message. And we are practice, travel in the moment to be happy, then we become the source of inspiration for others to practice. So thank you so much for your deep listenings today. May you enjoy the day of mindfulness. And I believe that today we will have a picnic lunch. Enjoy the Eden garden, to enjoy the Pure Land. So please enjoy, take the time to fully enjoy with friends and loved ones. And once again, thank you for spending a day with us in Upper Hamlet.